So we are here with my longtime neighbors, Diane and Nick, and also my mom, Mama Stare. We are talking about what it means to be a good neighbor. So we first met, I feel like I've known you my whole life, right?
We were
Okay,
little.
yeah, very little.
We moved in 88.
88, and I was born in 87. So basically, I would say there's not a time in my life where I didn't know you and have you as neighbors. And although we've since moved into different places, obviously I'm an adult now, I don't live in the same childhood house that I did. Thank God, right? I mean, it's an okay house still. You did okay back then. But I had such a huge impact as a kid by having Diane and Nick as my neighbors because they had a son that came out when I was a young kid. Can you talk about the experience of how Jordan came out to you and what your reaction was?
So Jordan was at School of American Ballet in New York training. He had lived there a year, and he got injured during a rehearsal and dislocated his knee. So we went up. I went up first because, he was all upset. He wasn't going to be in a performance and all. And when I was there, he was living with his friend Janie, and I said, Jordan, what's the matter? There's something going on that's the matter. And I said, if you have to tell me something, tell me, because I knew it was coming out. And he said, I'm gay, but I don't want to, people will think different of me, and I don't want them to. And I said, well, who cares what people think of you? I love you. He goes, I'm really worried. I said, well, Dad's going to accept it. He goes, I'm worried what Aaron, his older brother, would think. And I said, Aaron's one of the most liberal people I know. There's not a chance he's not going to be accepted. And we've known since you've been 3 years old.
Right.
So you're now 15. It's okay. But he was, and it was like such a relief. But the cutest story was that night, one of his roommates, Adam Hendrickson, said, I saw your mom at Barnes & Noble. She's buying all the books about how to accept a gay child. And I thought that was it. I said, that's just like me. I have to read a book and see how it's going to be.
Right.
But we were okay with it. And I just said, you can't live your life as a lie. You are who you are. You're a fabulous person, as you are a fabulous person, right?
Yes.
Right. Always one of my favorite people.
Thank you.
And the world needs more people like you.
Yes, I appreciate that. And
And the big question was, all our friends said, what's the Italian father think of the son being gay?
Well, it's my son. I love him, and there was no question, there was no doubt. Like Diane said, we knew he had those tendencies. So, but regardless, we love him to death. I love him to death. He'll be my son forever, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's the way God made him.
And we love his husband Ben, and we're so glad they could get married.
Yeah,
that makes us happy.
I made their wedding rings.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
When I was a jewelry designer, I made their first bands. Yeah.
Right.
So we have such a deep connection. But for me, growing up as a young kid, so he came out when he was 15.
Yeah, he just turned 15.
Yeah, so I was probably like 8 or so, and I distinctly remember you coming and telling me. And just saying, and they were accepting and nothing has changed. And that was the first person in my life who I saw come out, and knowing that he was accepted, that made such a huge impact on me as a kid. So having you as a neighbor, I really feel like changed my life.
That's good. That's good. But I want to tell you something that I think of, and I don't know if you remember, Gina, but the four of us, Ray, Gina, Nick, and I were out for dinner one night. And I think you were dating Gio, and I don't know if you had decided already to get married, but I remember Ray, another Italian father, saying, as long as my child is happy, I'm happy. He was content. And it was so sweet to hear him say that, because I think sometimes for parents it's hard, that they just don't know, or they have stuff that comes out, but it was just the sweetest thing, and I thought that's exactly how I felt. But do you remember him saying that? I do. And that really touched my heart. I came away from that and thought, how lovely that you can say that, because not everybody feels that.
Yeah, that is lovely. And I feel lucky that my parents met Gio and almost immediately knew that he was trans, because my mom was there the very night that I met Gio at a networking event, because she's the one and basically fixed me up and dragged me there. And then my dad met Gio like only a few days later at the Cleveland Magazine Most Interesting People party. So it was never like a conversation where I had to tell them. They just sort of like knew because of the circumstance. Yeah, and that was good. So
because I say you love who you love.
Exactly.
I always loved Italian men. I dated Italian men. No, but it's true. You love who you love. You can't help who you're attracted to.
Yeah.
It's life. My youngest brother is gay.
Oh.
So I remember when he came out, and we knew for a long time, but he hadn't come out. And My mother, I think, was mortified. My father was much more accepting and okay with it. And I swore back then, before I ever had children, and I don't even know if we had been married. Were we married? We could have been married, like early on, like we hadn't had children yet. And I thought, I will never be like my mother is, so afraid what somebody else would think, so conscious of, you know, and I just never understood that. And she mellowed over the years. Like by the time she was 90, she had mellowed out a little bit, you know, and that's but I swore I wouldn't be like she was. I'd be more like my dad.
You never were.
Right.
I just remember, I mean, obviously I was a kid, but I just remember there's nothing wrong with being gay.
Right.
That was the
That's
first
right.
thing I learned. You know, the first person I saw come out, I learned acceptance immediately. And that's what I hope for all kids to be able to see.
And now that the Pope's in agreement,
Right,
so
Right,
God's
with the
children.
civil unions, right.
right, all the Catholics are on board.
Whoever thought that would happen?
Right, not in my lifetime, I didn't think.
Well, I still remember, you know, Jordan growing up in the neighborhood and having a trampoline out in the front yard and jumping on the trampoline and dancing around.
All the
And I
time.
remember a few neighbors saying, like, do you think Jordan is gay? And I said, I don't know, and who cares?
Right.
I would never ask. And I still
And the
remember.
answer is yes.
Yes.
And as his father was playing hockey.
Yeah.
In the street
That's
with all the
right,
kids.
exactly. Yeah. And then I remember when you told me, I distinctly remember that conversation. You said there's some friends that now that they know won't even talk to me about my son. And she said, but I know you'd be accepting.
Right, right.
Yeah, and so I got to see my mom be accepting of her friend's child, and then that helped me. I didn't come out till much later in life, but I came out to you at like 23, and so I already I came out to you by an accident, just telling you about a girl I had a crush on, and not intending to tell you, but
Well,
I
I think
did.
there were some little hints.
But that was
Yeah.
a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I've got a crush, but I have a crush on Amy Adams and Julianne
Yeah.
Moore. So yeah.
You like
I'm just
redheads,
saying, I
apparently.
like the redheads. I like the redheads.
But yeah, I mean, I think I knew you would be accepting because I saw how accepting you were of Jordan too as a kid, and I didn't have to worry about that as much. So
And you knew they loved you.
yes,
You know,
Yes.
it's like you made these children, you love these children no matter what.
That's right.
You know what, no matter what.
yes.
Yeah, and I think there were even people when you first came out that called me and questioned me, and I said, you know, I'm never going to stop loving my daughter, no matter what she needs or she wants to be happy. That's fine with me.
Because that's all you want them to be happy.
Yeah.
Right. Don't and never live your life as a liar for anybody.
No.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
said to
too
Joy.
hard.
And
Yeah.
if you can't find that at home, just know that there are people who can be your chosen family,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Exactly.
Right.
And so we would love if every parent could be as accepting as all of you, but we know that's not the case for a lot of LGBTQ youth. So it's so important that people find that chosen family, those neighbors, those people who can be that accepting adult in their life. So it makes such a huge impact to have one person in your life who's accepting, and whether that's your neighbor or someone at school or a parent or a family member, that can save a life. So we are here to just raise awareness of what State Farm is doing with the Trevor Project to help to garner acceptance and be good neighbors.